On behalf of the National Institute of Cinema and Audiovisual Arts, we would like to welcome you to the 35th edition of the Mar del Plata International Film Festival, the only Class A festival of the region, recognized by the International Federation of Film Producers Association. This festival will pay tribute to Fernando Pino Solanas, an irreplaceable figure of our political and cultural world. Pino was always passionate for building a more just and democratic world. He was there in person producing and directing films that showed invisible realities. His legacy reflects a personality that combined his social actions and his poetry, and will always be part of our history forever. It is today, thanks to our platforms, that we can meet once again in this virtual and free edition for the public of the entire country. This allows for more federal reach and maintains the continuity of this celebration of national and international film. Within this special context, we will miss our beloved Mar del Plata, a city which is a symbol of our festival and where it is always a pleasure to get together and meet. We would like to point out the support of the Ministry of Culture of Argentina, the Ministry of Production, Science and Technological Innovation of the province of Buenos Aires, the municipality of General Pueyrredón, and the city of Mar del Plata to organize this festival based on the implementation of public policies that acknowledge the cultural importance of its continuity. Throughout this festival, we will also have the presence of the Embassy of Spain and Acción Cultural de España, the French Institute in Argentina of the Embassy of France, the Embassy of Canada, the Goethe Institute and the German Embassy, the Italian Embassy, and also the Korean Cultural Center. We would like to thank them all for their participation. We also have the strong support of the Banco de la Nación Argentina, which provides its support to culture and national cinema. We also would like to thank the contribution of the following companies: Campari, Positivo BGH, Wallis, Flow, Netflix, Cinecolor, La Hage, Pomeranek, HD Argentina, and El Cono del Silencio. We would also like to thank the Universidad Nacional de Mar del Plata for their collaboration, as well as the Film Commission of Mar del Plata, the Universidad del Cine, the Museum of Cinema Pablo Ducros Hicken, the Cinema Program of Universidad Torcuato Di Tella, and the National Library Archives. We will now hear from the Minister of Culture of Argentina, Tristan Bauer. From the National Ministry of Culture, we would like to welcome you to the Mar del Plata International Film Festival in its 35th edition and congratulate all of those who have organized it and made it a reality, the workers, and very especially congratulate Luis Puenzo, who is now the president of the National Institute of Cinema and Audiovisual Arts. It is very important to continue moving forward despite the difficulties brought about by the pandemic. Those events that we were used to having face-to-face, we are now having to organize in a virtual setting. This is a celebration of cinema, and it is a chance to meet and get together through the wonder of cinema. There are very diverse films, diverse sections, the official competition, and all of the different sections of the festival, the tributes, and this type of celebrations. Eduardo Kosarinsky, Norma Leandro. We would also like to pay tribute to those who left us. Rosario Blefari, Maria Luisa Bemberg, a beloved director that has taught us so much, and the recent, very painful loss of our dear Pino Solanas. We owe Pino Solanas so much because of his films, because of his gaze on life in general. I will never forget that I started as a projectist of Cine Liberación in those groups back in the day, and I would see what would happen in the debates and the discussions and the impact that different films had, like La Hora de los Hornos or Actualización Doctrinaria para la Toma del Poder. And of course, his fiction works, such as fundamental films for Argentina, El Exilio de Gardel, Sur, El Viaje, and his documentaries, Memoria del Saqueo, and others. I would like to thank Pino for his collaboration in those times when in the Ministry of Education we organized and developed Canal Encuentro. Eduardo Muñona, Birri, and Pino were essential participants of that project. So I would like to celebrate the fact that the festival is officially opening with the screening of La Hora de los Hornos. Thank you once again, and I believe that it is very important to have everyone in the country, not just in the city of Mar del Plata, but from the north to the south and the east to the west, to have the entire country participating in this celebration of cinema, which is the 35th edition of the Mar del Plata Film Festival. Thank you very much, Tristan. We will now hear from Luis Puenzo, the president of the National Institute of Cinema and Audiovisual Arts. Our dear Pino left an empty space in this festival. He was going to be present in a discussion table where we were going to talk about the law, where he really played an essential role. Pino was a congressman, and he was the president of the Cultural Commission between 92 and 94 in the lower house, and he was essential for the law. One of the things he is remembered for, and of course I would like him to be remembered because of this, and this discussion table will not have him in person, but he will be present in spirit, because he will be part of the tribute that this table and this section will be paying to him. And this begins with the law and continues with Historias Breves 1. We are now at Historias Breves number 19, but the number 1 Historias Breves was, in a way, the birth of independent cinema in Argentina. It is now its 25th anniversary, and that's why we are including it in the festival. And this will also be reflected in different discussion tables with directors of those 9 short films that were part of Historias Breves. And I believe that this will be of great interest for everyone, for young people who are studying cinema right now, to be able to see how this took place and what these directors think of their first short film, who later on became some of the most important figures of our cinema. This festival and these events can be accessed from every corner of the country, because this has become a federal event. As such, we can say that now Mar del Plata is reaching every city, every little town in Argentina. And there is a way to access the content, which will be explained later on. It is very easy to access to the films, to access the tributes, the awards, the discussion tables, and there are many, many more that we can just name in this opening ceremony. Like I said, we are very happy and we are very proud of this festival. I would like to thank the Marché du Film and the Cannes Festival, because they have provided us with the technology. It is a very complex technology through which you are watching right now. And in just a few minutes, you will see La Hora de los Hornos, the first part. We have the honor of having that film opening this festival. Thank you, Luis. We will start with the Astor Piazzolla Award because of the trajectory of this musician as a composer, director, and bandoneon player, of course. The prize will be a statue that represents his bandoneon, also developed by specialist Juan Carlos Pajarols. Now we will see a spot about the creative process and how he developed these statues. I'm Juan Carlos Pajarols. Here we are in my workshop here in San Telmo. And I would like to tell you that I'm extremely proud of having built the Astor Piazzolla Award for the film festival. One of the greatest pleasures of my life is cinema. I saw how cinema went from being silent to being spoken and having sound when I was a very little child. And in my collection of things, I have many films. I remember that when an important figure appeared in a film, people would stand up and clap and applaud, so everything is stored there in the film. What can I say about Astor Piazzolla? He is a universal genius. And apart from having enjoyed his music and continuing to enjoy his music nowadays, this area is surrounded by music. My place of work is surrounded by music since the early morning. And we have a moment in the day that we play Piazzolla. It wasn't difficult to think of something to symbolize Piazzolla because the bandoneon is a very classical thing and it's a synonym, I believe, of Astor Piazzolla. So what we were thinking about is how to develop it. I had the support of his wife, Laura. He showed me photographs of how the signature was in his bandoneon. She told me to fold it in a certain way, sort of when the music is bowing in front of the audience. And then in one of their visits here to the workshop, it was a pleasure to include her in the work, and also Dani, his grandson, and many friends and admirers have collaborated with me to finish the piece. I'm very comfortable and very happy. I feel flattered when I'm able to share the work that I do, my craftsmanship and my art with the friends that I have in cinema, and especially with a name such as Astor Piazzolla, because he was a great friend and a major creator of things that I did later on, both in silver and also a vine that I designed in iron for his house, and many other objects that I've done throughout my life. But this is not just one more piece. This was something very special that we did with much affection and love for it to remain forever. We would like to now invite Fernando Juan Lime, president of the Mar del Plata International Film Festival, who will share a few words. Welcome to the 35th International Film Festival in Mar del Plata. This has been a very special year, and the death of our dear Pino Solanas led us to change once again in an already uncertain year with many changes, because we knew that we had to dedicate this festival to Pino Solanas, not just for his films, but also because of his political commitment and his struggle. all of that was very important for our films. And of course, Article 75, subsection 19 of our Constitution actually protects the cultural identity and the cultural diversity and the audiovisual space. And Pino Solanas, we also owe him the Cinema Act that protects national cinema, as well as the creation of the Archive of National Images. And it is still to be implemented. We hope that that will take place soon. And all of that can be attributed to the work of Pino Solanas. Apart from that, we would like to remember two important figures, not just because of their films, but also because of their values, which are an example, and we want to pay tribute to them, Maria Luisa Bemberg and Rosario Blefari. And all of these elements, diversity, independence, stepping away from certain limitations, and actually struggling against the status quo, these are all values that we see in them, apart from their marvelous film work in Pino, in Rosario, and in Maria Luisa Bemberg. This is a very special festival because there are certain anniversaries that are very relevant for us and which have to do with that creative explosion that took place in the second half of the 90s of last century. And it has to do with Historias Breves. This really created a major change in our cinema. Also, the emergence of the new Cinema Act and the constitutional reform. And in 1996, the recovery of our dear International Film Festival here in Mar del Plata. These events have a very clear reason. There are no coincidences and have to do with the richness and how heterogeneous our cinema is, and had to do with what was bubbling up at the time. And it was difficult times for other reasons, but that was what was happening. So within the context, we are preparing a festival that adapts to the context. We would love to be in Mar del Plata, holding each other and walking around the city of Mar del Plata. But the group that is led by Cecilia Barrio Nuevo, and which includes those dear programmers, Marcelo Alderete, Pablo Conde, Francisco Pérez Laguna, Paola Bontempo, all of them coordinated by Fernando Arca, have conceived an edition that does respect the limitation of our times, but at the same time is a very strong festival, very inclusive, to include everyone. It is a free festival that will reach every corner of the country, and I believe that you will all find a place to feel in touch with the festival, even for those who are joining us for the first time. This festival is the result of a state policy that has been solidly maintaining and has been uninterrupted since 1996. And that is something really to highlight, to point out, to look after, and to acknowledge. As we said, this festival belongs to everyone, to every man, to every woman. So make use of it, and hopefully next year we will be able to meet face to face in our dear city of Mar del Plata. Thank you, Fernando. We will now hear from the artistic director of the Mar del Plata International Film Festival, Cecilia Barrio Nuevo. Welcome, everyone, to this International Film Festival here in Mar del Plata. Without a doubt, the world has changed, and this is not without its challenges. During this year, many things have changed. Many festivals had to be rescheduled, some were canceled, so we believe it is an enormous privilege to actually be in the opening of the 35th Mar del Plata International Film Festival. I would also like to join in the words that were said before, in the sense that it is a real shame not to be able to be in the streets of Mar del Plata and going to physical cinema theaters. But it is also a great joy to be able to reach the entire country for free. I would also like to remember Pino Solanas as well. He was a wonderful man and a filmmaker that really left a mark in everyone, in young filmmakers, and not only here in Argentina, but also in the world. And his enthusiasm for struggles and for causes were incredible. And also, he gave an unforgettable speech to promote the law for to legalize abortion in Argentina. With his film La Hora de los Hornos, a film from 1968 that we will be presenting in a restored version that the Institute developed, but also thanks to the Ciclo Recuperar, the Recuperar series, we have the support of DAC. We will also be presenting 3 more films that were made by Pino Solanas. So this will be part of the tribute, and he will be present in this festival. And he has left really a mark forever in our film history. This year, as Fernando said, it will be a more limited festival, but it's also a festival that resists and that supports continuity and that has the idea of meeting, even if it is at a distance. In these last months, cinema and films have been a source of relief, of solace for so many people. And many directors have made their films available to provide some kind of shelter in these times of despair. And we highly value this. As a result, and we have used that as a basis for the programming this year. With the programmers that Fernando Lima mentioned, and also Ana Schmuckler and Julieta Lauchela, Miranda Barón, Santiago Ligier, Ramiro Sonsini, Rocío Rocha, Lucrecia Mataroso, Santiago González Craniolino, Pablo Marín, and Andrea Bentit. We would like to thank them all, our infinite gratitude to all of those who make films and had the wonderful gesture of wanting to support the festival by sharing their films. We have received many, many films this year, and we have selected a few, obviously trying to continue with the line that the festival has always followed, that show a diversity of voices. Sometimes they are the first film of a director, and we also have familiar faces. The idea is to always have films that surprise us and that will leave a mark in our memory. And we must say that there are many, many films that we have watched, but that unfortunately were not able to be included in this festival. But we would like to thank them immensely for sending them to the festival. Like I said, Argentine films will have an essential role this year. We will be celebrating the history of those who promoted a new way of thinking about our cinema. This will include a celebration of the work that was carried out by Manuel Antin, Edgardo Konsarinsky, and Norma Leandro. Really a way of looking at films that continues to be active, that continues to change. We presented their films, present films, films about them, and it is a great source of joy for the festival to be able to present these awards to their lifetime achievement. And apart from these important names, we will be proposing many new ones to be discovered. Like I said, they will be present in other sections. We will have the Medianoche, the midnight section, a section for kids, authors, special screenings, and an official out-of-competition section dedicated to Argentine films. And also, the programming will include special activities. And when we conceive the special activities, we conceive them based on the program. They are part of the program. They accompany the programming by reflecting upon cinema. We will focus on new technologies, but also on film preservations with an incredible debate, also film distribution, tables that will focus on the issue of gender, gender-based cinema, and other issues as well. Once again, this year we will have members of the jury who are part of the international and national film scene, and they will be watching the films, and honestly, it is a true honor to have them with us. We will also have critics and international programmers, as every year. In this case, it will be virtual and with remote participation. The future is built socially. This is what we believe at the festival. It is built collectively. It is built through critical thinking and joint thinking, where we focus on the past and also on the present. This year, and in order to pay more attention on this and on constructing a future, we are presenting two books. We have always considered very important to publish books. This year we have Desde el Asombro y la Audacia, the films of María Luisa Bemberg. It was compiled by Marcela Visconti, and also the Postcards of the Future. This is the idea of Marcelo Alderete. This is a collective work where there are more than 70 personalities from all over the world who came together to put together like a roadmap or a manifesto at a worldwide level of what will become of cinema. As I was saying before, the spaces for reflection and for thinking and sharing thinking are very important for us. That's why we organized the third Forum for Gender together with the University of Cinema. And within the framework of the festival, and in order to address new voices within cinema, we created the Premio Méliès, the Méliès Award for short films, with the support of the French Institute and the Embassy of France. And we will be presenting short films from the Instituto di Tela. So this will combine views with the great names of cinema and also newcomers that are beginning with their filmmaking career. And speaking about big names, we will be presenting 6 master classes. This is a fundamental space as well, because it allows us to delve into the work of the masters of cinema with a great history behind them, and many of them have been at the festival in person. This year is wonderful. We will be having a conversation with Rita Acevedo Gomez, Walter Hill, Albert Serra, Roberto Minervini, Andres Duque, and Miranda July. And speaking of masters, as Fernando said, we would like to remember Maria Luisa Bemberg in the 25th anniversary of her death. The festival will pay tribute to her in different ways. Apart from the book that I just discussed, where we had the participation of Graciela Borges, Usupe Coraro, Lucrecia Martel, Vanessa Ragone, Dick Stantic. This is a collective book on her, Ana Maria Moschnik as well. But apart from the book, we will be presenting within the festival 2 films, her first and her last film, thanks to the joint work with the Museum of Cinema and the support of the Bemberg family. I would like to remember Maria Luisa Bemberg with a few words. She used to say, or I think she said once, any woman who dares to put herself into action has to kill the dragon of insecurity that she carries inside. So I think that in order to continue killing dragons and supporting the construction of spaces that are equal within cinema, this is why this year we organized the third Forum for Gender, Perspective, and Cinema. This forum is absolutely essential, and the festival, in turn, works by developing concrete actions to find that equality that is so difficult to find in different environments, and in cinema is no exception. Finally, I would like to thank Alejandro Puente, who is the executive producer of the festival, but also I would like to thank all of the teams and every person who is part of the teams at the festival. Many people organize this event, and it would be impossible without them. These people are extremely professional and put their heart and their knowledge so that this festival is possible. Even more so this year, so that we can profit from the screens and have them unite us instead of separate us. And in order to convey that warmth and that home feeling that the Festival of Mar del Plata has every year, and for those of us who are there, you know, watching behind the screens, watching a film, or maybe presenting a film. So to every person who is part of the festival, we thank them. And also we thank you, those of you who watch the films, the friends of the festival, the audience who is always there, but also newcomers, those who are watching for the first time. And we would like to acknowledge and thank the presence, always rooted on reality, of the cinema community, because the Mar del Plata International Film Festival would make no sense if it wasn't because of the support of everyone, of you. So thank you, and we hope you enjoy this festival, and we hope that you join us until the 29th. Not only for the films, but also to continue thinking about the future. Thank you, Cecilia. We will now see a preview of the news that this unique edition of the festival will bring us. This is our institutional spot.
Oh wait, Mom, who died?
Está buena, métete un trozo. José.
Solo quiero ver cosas lindas.
An act.
Dinner is at 7:30.
Okay.
Vamos a entregar ahora el premio a la trayectoria a Astor Piazzolla.
We will now give out the award for Lifetime Achievement for Manuel Antin, a very important figure of our culture, a novelist, a poet, a playwright, a scriptwriter, and a filmmaker, and also a teacher. He made 11 feature films, including La Cifra Impar, Los Venerables Todos, Circe, and Don Segundo Sombra. Between 1983 and 1989, he was the director of the National Institute of Cinema. And in 1991, he founded the University of Cinema, of which he is the president now. During this festival, we will be able to enjoy La Cifra Impar and the documentary Cortázar y Antin, Cartas Iluminadas by Cynthia Rashmir. Both of them will be available on Cinear Play between the 21st and the 29th of November.
No tengo nada contra las diversiones de ustedes. Pero prefiero irme.
Sí, Dora. Anda. Haz lo que te dicen.
Usted siempre habla de su mamá. Le caí como a una hija. ¿Por qué dijo la lástima es esa?
Para mamá, vos sos la novia de Nico.
¿Y esa es la lástima?
Y encontrarse aquí, tan lejos de Buenos Aires, ¿no le parece increíble?
A lo mejor porque en las playas no hay persianas.
A lo mejor.
Trae el ventilador, Héctor. Silvia va a creer que esta casa es el infierno. No te lo lleves de golpe, Silvia.
A ver vos, Ramón, que presumís de fuerte. Vení. Y pegá con toda tu alma. Que si los patrones no son los primeros en respetar la ley, las cosas van a andar mal para todos.
Asegurarme el afecto de su hija sería para mí la mayor felicidad, ¿sabe? Pero no sé. La siento rara, distante. Me pregunto si ella me ha entregado su corazón.
La resistencia de Manuel, solidaria con su film, con sus creencias, ¿viste? Con Julio Cortázar.
Ninguno de los dos era nada en aquella época, ¿no? Yo seguí siendo nada, pero él tuvo la suerte de morirse y se convirtió en un ejemplar extraordinario de nuestra literatura.
Hay un montón de cosas que yo escribo en el diálogo. Tengo un poco de miedo de que haya malentendidos en ese sentido y de que vos no estés contento de algunas cosas que a mí me pueden parecer más o menos pasables. Claro, el lío es de que estemos tan lejos uno de otro.
Manuel, respecting all the protocols. From a friend to another friend. Pajarols. Thank you very much. Thank you so much. I think that this is like a family giving an award to one of its children. I feel like I'm a recognized son, and that my family has decided to let me know that they love me just a little bit. And now it is time to announce the award for Lifetime Achievement for Edgardo Kosarinsky. His work includes more than 20 books and 10 films, including The Girl Down Salom, Night Round, and Carta a un Padre. Within the framework of the festival, 2 of his films will be available in the Shift platform. Medium as of the 23rd and Edición Limitada, co-directed with Santiago Loza and Romina Paula as of the 26th of November.
La Cinémathèque est tout de même le creuset où nous sommes formés tous. Oui. Enfin, il y a 2 choses. D'une part, le fait que c'est par la Cinémathèque que cette Cinémathèque n'ait pas existé, je crois que nous n'aurions pas vu tous ces films-là, nous n'aurions pas pu les voir.
Elle avait 22 ans et partit avec lui pour le Mexique. Elle ne s'intéressait pas aux hommes. Il n'avait pas un très grand penchant pour les femmes. Ils n'ont pas attendu longtemps pour se marier.
En la doliente sombra de mi cuarto, al esperar sus pasos que quizás no volverán, a veces me parece que ellos detienen su andar, sin atreverse luego a entrar.
Anoche soñé que estaba en Entre Ríos. Mi padre nació en Entre Ríos. Yo nunca estuve allí.
Disculpe.
It's very important for me to receive this recognition to my trajectory. It is on behalf of the Mar del Plata Film Festival, and it's very important because in a way it consolidates the fact that after many years of living abroad, for more than one decade, I've been here in the country, back in the country where I was born, and the Mar del Plata Festival, with more than half a century in its history, it really provides great satisfaction for me because I feel like I belong. I belong to cinema, of course, and as always, but I also belong to an Argentine institution. Finally, the festival will give out an Astor Piazzolla Lifetime Achievement Award to Norma Aleandro, a unique symbol of our culture, actress, scriptwriter, and theater director. Norma Aleandro is the winner of prizes to Best Actress in international festivals such as Cannes and Cartagena. And some of the films that are part of her great history in cinema are La Historia Oficial, Sol de Otoño, El Hijo de la Novia, Cuestión de Principios, Cuidado con lo que sueñas, and El Espejo de los Otros. She is part of our programming, and with the documentary Norma Aleandro, El Vuelo de la Mariposa by Carlos Duarto Quin, available on Cinear Play from the 21st to the 29th of November.
¿Vos sos bancario?
No, ¿por qué?
Pero en tu trabajo sacas cuentas.
Y a veces. ¿Por qué?
Porque en la cama pones esa cara.
¿Pero qué viene todo esto ahora?
Que vos me dijiste que ella estaba de acuerdo, pero ¿cómo sabés que estaba de acuerdo? ¿Mm? ¿La viste en el hospital? Ay, contestame, Roberto. No te enojes. A lo mejor ella ni siquiera sabía que le estaban quitando a la hija.
A ver si yo no he entendido mal. Lo que usted propone es un canje, un intercambio. Los caudillos ponen el orden y ustedes ponen las ideas.
Yo sé que si mi hermano sabe que soy feliz, él también lo será.
¿Y usted?
Peor sería sentir el dolor de mi hermano.
Haz un esfuerzo, mami. ¿No te acordás cuando dejé la facultad? Toda esa pelea, todo eso. No llore, no llore, no llore, no llore.
Mami no me llama nunca.
¿Quién, la abuela?
Pero me ha pasado de todo en este oficio. Pero bueno, ahí es donde vuelves a elegir. Y pase lo que pase, sigo eligiendo una y mil veces.
I choose this profession over and over, this craftsmanship. Of course, now I share it with other things. I cannot just do theater. No, I do other things now. I'm interested in other things.
Otras cosas.
Norma, we're doing everything following the protocol. The fact that this group of people like you, who for years and years have fought to continue with the prize and continue with the festival, considering how difficult this is, how do you do it? Well, you do it because of this name that they've earned and because of all the people in cinema, in theater, and in television. I would like to thank you very much for this award because it is you, and I truly appreciate you. We all appreciate you. But also, the lifetime achievement, the history. It's funny because they always tell me, oh, you've been doing this for so long, but they do it, of course, affectionately. And I think that, yes, many, many years ago I started doing this because I started when I was very little. When I was 3, I did my first nonsense on stage with my parents who were actors. And I lived in a house of actors. So I've always been surrounded by everything that surrounds us. When we come to the Mar del Plata Film Festival, it is a very beloved festival, actors, directors, the audience, and so it is a great honor and a source of pride. I will be inflated with pride because really, really, it is so beautiful to see what you do. And it is wonderful for all of us, those of us who work in cinema in one way or another. So, thank you. And this is the end of a ceremony filled with symbols and important figures of our cinema. This is almost goodbye, but before, I would like to mention how happy we are to be celebrating 25 years of continuity in democracy of our festival after it was recovered in 1996. Without a doubt, and over the years, it has received the very best of Argentine and international films. Thank you for joining us, and we hope you will enjoy our programming and, of course, all of the activities of the festival, which will be available in our platforms by entering www.mardelplatafilmfest.com.
Llega la 35ª edición del Mar del Plata Film Festival, del 21 al 29 de noviembre. Este año, federal, online y gratuito. Ingresando a www.mardelplatafilmfest.com vas a conocer toda la programación. Para acceder a la película elegida, haces clic en Ver película. Te registras por única vez completando tus datos de usuario y listo, ya podés disfrutar de la función. Las películas de la cartelera virtual estarán activas a partir de las 10 a.m. y disponible por 72 horas en las salas virtuales con capacidad limitada. Seguinos en nuestras redes y suscríbete en nuestro canal de YouTube. Activando las notificaciones, podés enterarte de todas las actividades. Este año, Mar del Plata Film Festival se vive online, federal y gratuito.